Wave, and we're live at the Senior Pastors Conference here at Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa, and we've been interviewing a variety of pastors and ministry leaders, and right now we have Pastor Brian Bell and his wife, Kelly. Sorry about that. So, guys, thanks so much for coming on here in our YouTube channel. A couple questions I want to ask you guys just to kind of begin our interview. One is, you've been part of the K-Wave ministry, or at least KSCW, for quite some time. Has that been part of your vision as far as when it comes to radio in regards to outreach?
You know, right from the very beginning, we had, I remember this one gal who had never been to a church, and she's from Rainbow, which is just south of us there, back in the hills, and had came up and introduced herself and had just been listening in online. She said it was the only station she could get and had to meet this pastor, and so came down. And so right from the very beginning, we really saw it reaching into our community in areas where just didn't even know either we're there, or so it was pretty exciting from the beginning of being able to kind of stretch past the walls of our church into our community.
And you're currently on KSCW Sunday mornings. We actually broadcast your live service. What's the fruit of that? How has that been?
You know, it's hard to tell, as we don't have a kind of like a response necessarily in doing that, but pretty much about every other Sunday, somebody's coming up saying, "Hey, we've been hearing you on the air and wanted to come check out the church," and so that's what we really enjoy about that. Yeah.
Now, as we're here, pastors' wives are part of this entire conference. What do you guys think about that? I mean, what are you guys looking forward to it as a couple? Because I know in the past it's been senior pastors, so you come up and you take from the Lord whatever the Lord speaks to you. Now, as a couple, how does that change the dynamics when it comes to that?
I'll give it to you next, but I think it's neat because it's been so many years where we've known these pastors. Some of them you only get to see every year, and so it's fun meeting their wives and getting to introduce Kelly to them. And how do you like it so far?
I think it's great. I think it's fun to be able to come to hear what he's being exhorted in, so that we can talk about that and pray for each other in that and discuss it. Since if he's called, I'm kind of called too. So it's been fun to even hear Jim. The first session was just really great, and I actually can't wait to talk about it with him. So It's fun.
And it's interesting because, with you, Kelly, you're here, like you said, you're listening to the messages that, obviously Brian would listen on his own without you. But now you both are together, so it's kind of neat to kind of hear these things and to testify on the things that the Lord is saying to both of you. And perhaps you guys are probably looking at each other in the audience like, yep, that's, what I mean?
And he can't leave out parts, that he doesn't want to share.
There you go. That's true.
I'm just kidding.
Yep. Well, guys, when wives ask us, how was your day? Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or now it's like, no, I already know exactly what's going on. So so let's talk about a little bit about Calvary Murrieta. You've been around for, 30-some years now?
Yeah, I took over in 1989.
Oh, wow.
We were there since 85, but Pastor had left, and then I took over in 1989, yeah.
So you've been there for that long, and what's been going on, since then? You guys have had a lot of different things come through as far as events and stuff, and you actually do something every year that we promote on KSCW, and that is it's about human trafficking and things like that, right? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's called, we call it Justice Matters, and we put on a conference every February, and I think this will be our going on our fifth or sixth year, yeah. And so what we did is as we started getting educated on human trafficking back 5-6 years ago, we wanted to do something in our community just to be able to raise awareness, and thought we could at least start there. And been very involved with our own police department and then Temecula's police department also, and with the massage parlors in town. It's just different ways of getting the word out of what has taken place. Kelly's been involved with the Riverside Task Force, and to where it's been a really great union. There's only certain things that the police departments can do, and FBI and such, where they need the faith-based community, and of course we can't do their job and they can't do our job, and so it's really been a great union to be able to help out when we have girls in need. And maybe you can talk about a few of those, because Kelly's really been able to connect in Riverside there at the Safe House. You want to share just a couple of those things?
Sure. Well, we've always kind of worked in missions abroad, and then when we started to understand that human trafficking and sexual exploitation, labor trafficking as well, was happening not only in our own nation but in our own county. In fact, the first victim that we ever worked with was from our Chinese church that meets on our own campus. And so when we started to find out it was on in our own city, we realized that we needed to do something and be the hands and feet of Christ. And especially because the task force and the government agencies are asking for help. And the fact that they're asking the faith-based community, what a great opportunity the Lord's given us. And so we've worked with them now for a couple of years, just kind of doing whatever they ask us to do. Our heart is to be able to share the gospel and actually get to share with the girls, but we'll do anything they ask, knowing that you have to build trust and relationship. And they really like us now, and we have events with them. This last week we had an event where we had a pool party for the girls out in the desert who are the rescued girls, and brought people and just ministered to them and swam and taught them how to make jewelry. And so we just kind of do whatever we can do for them. And so that's been great. But it's been a great way to bring not only awareness to our community, but also every year we got a little bit more in depth on here's what's happening, but what we can do, because they all get overwhelmed. But so what do we do about it? So every year we really focus on more application too on what they can do about it, just as one person, as a single person. So.
And it's interesting you say awareness, because in our nation we don't really think about that. We think about, when it comes to human trafficking, we're thinking about other countries, third world countries, but in our own, like you said, in our nation, even in our county, I think a lot of people would be surprised at how bad this issue is, even locally.
Yeah,
and,
I think that was the first fight, convincing our own valley that this is happening in the valley, because no one wanted to believe it. But once they get it, these are our children. It shouldn't matter whose children they are, but something when it's their own children, they do get it. So It's been exciting.
Yeah. Now, Brian, you also do a big men's conference once a year as well, right? Taking off the gloves?
Yep, taking off the gloves. Yeah, that's been really great. What we had done about 5-6 years ago we were finding out less and less men were coming to the actual whole weekend retreat. And so that was our way of mitigating of how can we just make a great one-day, Saturday day conference. And we're actually just about ready to get back to doing the weekend retreats. We think that the guys are ready for that again. But it's been a real good go the last 5 years with the taking off the gloves. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what's going on recently? I mean, as far as what the events and things like that, what do you guys got going on?
This summer we got something that we're doing a little bit different. We do a VBS at our church every year for kind of the local neighborhood and that. But we did is we have about 5 teams going out to Tanzania and Peru, Brazil, missing one, the Philippines, one more country. So it's 5 different countries, and we're all doing the same VBS. And so we're actually teaching our kids about these other countries and what they're doing by doing the exact same kind of lesson plan and everything, and crafts and different things. So that's how we're kind of connecting the children to that. We love missions. We've done it for a long time, and trying to always to do it better. But we just like reaching down to the younger, getting their eyes off of it's not just about us and our church, but thinking about the ends of the earth and getting the gospel out that way.
Yeah. And then lastly, part of your church is you have a school, full-blown school, right? K to 12?
Yeah, I think this is 23 years now.
Wow,
yeah.
That's great.
And it's really good. 2008 when we went through the kind of the financial kind of collapse of our community, our church, our school was at 1,250 students, and we got it cut in half because of just finances and stuff. So it's slowly building back up again, and so that's been it helped us to be able to kind of relook at everything, and but it's really in a great spot right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to come to your church, what's a good way of getting more information? Your website? What's the website?
Yeah, CalvaryMarietta.com is probably the best way to go there, and got a lot of information on there, the different ministries and what we have going on at the church, and the school also is connected to that site.
Great. Yeah. So thank you, Brian Kelly, for being on a YouTube channel and sharing a little bit about what the Lord's doing in your ministry. And I pray God will bless you guys and speak to you clearly. So as you go back to your congregation, God will give you a word and encouragement for that. So Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
Thanks,
That's Robert Baltodano. Thanks, guys. See you later.